This is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. So I want to take a look here at some oil sector stocks today. First of all, I'll look at the ETF, XLE. Then we'll look at ExxonMobil, Chevron, Schlumberger, Phillips, and Conoco. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy stock market ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have the XLE. Now, this is the ETF, the sweet basket of everything that I'm pretty much going to show you here. It has a lot more in there, but the thing I like about this is also pays about a 3.3% dividend. Okay, so you can always have a little, money every month, kind of a situation. Okay, so here we have the XLE. All right, now we can see where we made a high, okay, we made a lower high, and then we made a lower high. See how that's downtrending? But we have this W pattern, so we got to see how this all shakes out. So on the downside here, we need to hold above that 85.70 and above this key level 85.39. That is your 100-day. Now, if we lose that, you come right down here to this 84.89 level, and then we'll come down to the bottom of this candle here at 84.16, and then we can just venture this all the way on down. These price channels work out very, very nicely. 81.66. And you have 80.88 level, and then we'll come down here to their 80.72 level, and then we come all the way down to the bottom here at that 79.51. Now, Chevron had their numbers, and they had really good numbers, kind of a situation going. And I just think oil, they made a big deal. I mean, T-Man made a deal with the EU about $750 billion worth of energy in the next 3 years, and that includes oil, natural gas, LNG, everything on that order. So again, this could really produce some really good numbers here going down the road. Now, on the upside, what we have to do is you really have to get just back above this key 21-day here, that 87.17, and that 87.34, that's that 8-day. And then we have this 200-day sitting at 87.83. Now, what we really need to do, if this wants to reverse that downtrend pattern, is you have to get back above that 89.44 level, okay? Right there, nice. Now, if we can, you have this gap in this fill. Okay, so we look at the top of that candle, you're looking at 90.34, there's your gap. Then we look to the bottom of that candle, you're looking at 92.98, there's your fill. And then we have a nice retest up here at that 94.82 level. But right now we just have sideways action, came right on down. But we're making a nice series of higher lows. So if you look at this chart, see we have a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low situation, as long as we don't start losing this price channel at that 84.89. Now, you can see here on the RSI, there's no divergence. We just have it's just downtrending the same as the old stock, as this ETF is doing. So again, we're not overbought, oversold, just sitting at 44. We just have sideways action going on here. So realistically, we're just basically trading this kind of a situation, but we really need to hold is this key level here, that 84.89, and really the bottom of that candle, that 84 level. If we can hold that, then we can maybe have another sideways action to take it high. The key is going to be closing back above that 89.44, so we can hit that gap and we can hit that fill. But this is an easy way if you want to trade a basket of the big oil stocks. Okay, let's take a look here now at ExxonMobil. All right, here we have ExxonMobil. And I can see the chart is pretty much very, very similar. We have a downtrending high, lower high situation. And we're right back down to this key level here. This is going to be that 109 level. That's your 100-day and your 50-day. If we lose that, you're going to come down to this 107 retest level. Now, again, we do have support, but realistically, this is going to be your target at that 102 level. And then we come down all the way down to the bottom there at that 97 level. But we have the same kind of a sideways action, but we have a downtrending chart situation. The same way the RSI looks very familiar, and the same way with the MACD. Now, if we can get back above, what we're looking for on the upside is that 111. Okay, and then we're looking here at that 111, which is a 200-day and the 8-day, and then we're looking for that 21-day at 111.68. If we can get it back above that, we'll come to this candle on top here as 113, then at 115.76, and then we can retest the top of this candle at that 116.95 level. Now, if we can get above that, this gap is not filled yet. It came all the way on up, but we never filled this gap at the bottom there. Okay, so you're looking at 117.66 level. Then we go to the top of that candle, 118.84. Then we'd be looking for the top at that 119.91. And obviously, we have a lot of good targets all the way up here to that 126 level. So you got to be a little bit patient here with the old oil stocks. But Exxon here is always a very, very good one that pays a nice dividend. And as I say, we just have that same sideways action like we have in the XLE. Okay, let's go take a look here at CVX. Okay, here we have Chevron. Now you can see this chart is nothing like the other two, like the XLE or the ExxonMobil. Okay, so Chevron came out to numbers. They had really good numbers. Oh, sorry about that. Got a little out of carried away there. Yeah, okay. So here we are. You can see we put this nice, good double bottom situation. And now we have this series of higher highs. On the other charts, we had this series of higher, lower highs going on. But now we have those higher highs looking very, very good. Now, it's sold right on off. But again, you notice that it's holding so far this 200-day at 150.33. If we lose that, then we're going to be looking right to the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 148.48. And then we're looking for the 100-day at 146.61 and 21-day 146.33. And then we have that 145.58 level is your price channel. So we have a lot of good support, your 200-day, 100-day, and 50-day. Now, if we lose that, we're going to come right to the bottom of this candle, looking at that 142 level. And then we can just, take all your price channels, just come right across. You got that 136. We have a 135, and then we come down to the bottom at that 133 level, and then we have the retest down there at 132. But right now, as long as we're holding this as 200-day, we still have a nice, good uptrending chart. Higher lows and higher highs. Very, very nice. Now, on the upside, we're watching is this 21-day 152.28. And then 154, that is your 8-day. Now, if we can get above that, then what we want to do is look to the top of that candle at that 155.89, and then 155.89, and then 157.21. Now, there is a big gap. If we get above that, we're not even into this gap fill yet. So we can come all the way to the top. You're looking at 161. That'd be your target. And then your gap fill would be 165.85. And then we have the nice retest all the way up there at 168.96. But we have a different chart. It's a nice, good uptrending chart. Okay, now we do have a little bit of a negative divergence. So we have a high and a lower high. Okay, so we have a high and we have a higher high. So we have a little bit of negative divergence going on here on your RSI. So always keep that in mind. And your green just went over your red. But, big but here, as long as we can hold that 200-day on a closing basis, that 150 level, we're still very, very good. Even if you come all the way down here to the 100-day, and you still have an uptrending chart. So realistically, we just have to watch that 21-day on the upside, that 8-day on the upside. On the downside, we just want to watch that 200-day at next level. We could be hit the 100-day, the 50-day, and probably might even be a retest of that 145 level. Okay, let's take a look here at SLB Schlumberger. Okay, here we have Schlumberger. Now you can see this is a downtrending chart. You can see that, anybody can see that. Okay, very, very obvious. But, okay, big but here, we had a downtrending chart. Yes, we do, but now we just have this sideways action. And it's basically a W. Now, when you have charts like this, what happens is you build energy. Now, it can be like we build energy here and it comes flying on down. We build energy here, it comes flying on down. Doesn't mean it's going to go up. So I say when you build energy. Now, we're right below that price channel at that 33.17. So what we'll be watching is today's low, obviously, at that 32.36 level, and then we have a retest down here at that 31 level. That's on the downside. On the upside, we have to get back above that 33.17, and then we're going to start running into all this resistance, 34.70. We have that 8-day 34.80. We have the 21-day at 35.12, and then we have that 100-day at 35.78. If we get above that, then we'll look to the top of that candle right there at 36.60, and then we have a retest there on your price channel at 38.15, and then we have your 200-day at 38.52. This chart does not look very good, but if you can get above that, what we have here is we have another gap. See how this gap is? 40.30, okay, and then the fill would be at 41.20, and then we can rally up to that 43.35 level. But realistically, with this sideways action, if you want to go higher, you have to, first of all, close above that price channel, close above that 200-day, and then aim for what we have on top of that candle at that 43.35 level. But right now, the downside, it looks like we can retest possibly that 31.11. We got to see how that all going to shake out. But right now, you just have a downtrending chart here in the Schlumberger. And you can see right here, we got to an oversold condition, and then we just kind of sideways action. There's really nothing here. There's no divergences. There's just nothing there. In the same way, we just have the green over your red. So I would be very, very careful if you are trading this. Okay, let's look at PSX. Okay, here we have Phillips 66. Now, very, very familiar with me. I had two uncles that they had gas stations. So I come from kind of like a gas station family, kind of a situation. They had gas station there, and they were both, at the time, Phillips 66 gas stations. Okay, one was on one side of town, one was on the other side of town. Okay, so what we have here is this chart here does not look really that bad. See how we had this downtrending, but now it's trying to reverse that downtrend, kind of a situation. So we have to see how this all going to shake out. So what we have going on here is we had this earnings situation, popped up a little bit, and then came right on down. Now on the upside, we have to get back above that 120.87, and then we had the 50-day at 121.88. Get above that, we have that 125.16 level, and then we have 125.94. Now, if we can get through all that resistance, then we have 128.52, a level going on here. We can just follow the candles all the way up here till we hit that 134.66 level. Then obviously we can just take all these levels if you can close, I should say, above that 134.66. Now downside, we're going to be really watching that 100-day 117.47. Obviously, it came here, it held it, and rallied back up. So we got to see if it can hold it again. That's going to be very key. If not, we have a lot of good support levels, but we just want to bring this to the bottom there. You're looking at that 111 level, and then we'll come down here to this 109 situation. But then again, we have a lot of good all the way down to that 91. Now, you got a little bit too an overbought a scenario, and now she's just rolling right on down. It's not overbought or oversold yet. In the same way with the green, cross that red, that shows that that is a bearish chart. But again, when you look at the overall, the key is it's going to be holding that 100 SMA. If we lose it, then we're going to come down to the support level in this area, and then we can come down to support level in this area, and then we could even retest that 91. So you got to be a little bit careful with this one here because we had that downtrending, but then it looked like it wanted to break right on up. But let's just see how this all shakes up. Right now, oil is down $1.83. You're back down to 67 level. I put the short on there today on with the SCO, and that's actually working very, very nicely here on the old crude oil. Okay, let's look at ConocoPhillips. Okay, here we have ConocoPhillips. Now, again, this stock here, you can see how it's downtrending situation and it's trying to get some relief going on up. But the 200-day pretty much stopped it dead in its track, went right up into that 200-day, and then it's just been pulling back. Now, on the downside, what you really want to watch is that 92.57 level, and then we want to watch that 91.66. But we still do have an uptrending chart. So you have a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and higher low. Very, very uptrending. This could come all the way down to that 50-day, and you still have an uptrending chart. Okay, so always remember that. So watch that 100-day on a closing basis. Next level is going to be that 50-day. And then if we start losing that 50-day, we'll come down to this level. Here you're looking at that 88 level. Okay, and then we just follow it all the way on down. We're looking at 85.23. And then we have 84.28. And we have the retest down there at 79.88 level. Let me just see what I did there. All right. Okay, let me take that back. Okay. Now, on the upside, what we're looking for is that 21-day at that 94.27, and then we have that 95.68, and then we have that 200-day, which is going to be a real bear at 97.59. So if you look in the past, that's all you got to do is look in the past. Look what happened here. Right into the 200-day, pulled back. 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 I think it's telling you something. 200-day is strong. Strong like bull. That 200 SMA. So you got to be really, really careful. You have to get and close above that 200-day, and we have to close above this price channel at that 98.07. Now, if we can, then what we do is we look right to the top of that candle. Okay, what you're looking at is 101.44. There's a gap, and then we look to the bottom at 104.24. Gap, and then the fill, and then we look to the top of the candle at 106. But you have to get above that 200-day, but you can see how strong that 200-day is providing with the resistance. Okay, so again, just watch that 100-day on the downside. If we lose that, look to the 50-day, then we look to the price channel. Upside, we have to get above that 21-day, the 8-day, and that key 200 SMA. Now, this here isn't really telling us a whole lot. It's just like 47. That's not overbought or oversold. The same thing here. The green is like over your crossing over your red. But again, we still have an uptrending chart, so you have to give it the benefit of the doubt unless we start losing these price channels at that 90.77. We start losing the 100-day and 50-day. Well, then we can come down and retest that 79. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here after your pick close, and we'll take a look here at Bitcoin, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas, and we'll take a look at the indexes, which are getting hammered. Dow's down 480, Nasdaq's down 366, and the S&P is down 81. However, that being said, great scalping in NVIDIA. I got as low as 170.89. I'm in at 171. You're sitting at 175.85 now. Great trade. Okay, the short on the crude, SCO, Really, really good trade. Got as low as 15.57. I didn't get the low. I'm in at 15.70, and we're sitting there at 16.34 level. All right, another great trade. Okay, Netflix. Look at Netflix. Another great trade. That's up almost 5 points. So no matter what kind of market you have, even if you're not even a short trader, okay, you're just a long trader, there's always something to trade. So never just have an opinion, oh, I can only trade this, I can only trade that kind of a situation. There's always a trade. All right? All right, thanks for watching.